Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, troops destroy bandits' leaders' hideouts in Zamfara, rescue kidnapped victims. 836 Nigerians fleeing war-torn Sudan arrive Abuja on Sunday. President-elect receives President Ruto's special envoy, pledges deepened economic ties with Kenya. And on the foreign scene, rival Sudan factions meet in Saudi Arabia as pressure mounts. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. Beginning with security matters, troops of the Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Hadarin Daji have destroyed several camps belonging to notorious bandits leader Bello Turji, rescued several kidnapped victims and recovered ammunition. The troops in clearance operations conducted on Saturday from Magaria to Dutsi general area of Zurmi local government area of Zamfara state discovered and cleared bandits hideouts located in Keta, Gidangaladima, Modawa, Mozuma and Dutsi villages. The troops also recovered one rocket-propelled bomb, military radio and some ammunition. Bello Turji, a notorious bandits warlord, is based in Fakai forest of the Shinkafi local government area of Zamfara state. His bandits group have been terrorizing the people of Zamfara, Sokoto and Katsina states for years and has been declared wanted by the military authorities in the country. A total of 834 Nigerians stranded in conflict-ridden Sudan on Sunday arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The airport terminal witnessed a large turnout of parents as well as relatives of the returnees who come to receive their loved ones. Dr. Sani Gwarzo, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, while receiving the returnees, said more stranded Nigerians will be back into the country in a few days. According to him, Azman Air brought in 322 persons, Max Air brought in 410 persons, while Taco Airline from Port Sudan came in with 102 persons, making a total of 834. He said that the delay in the release of some of the returnees' luggages in Wadi Halfa in Sudan had been settled and their luggages came in with them on their flights. He added that a mop-up session had been put in place to bring back more stranded Nigerians in Sudan. President Patrick Lumumba Foundation wants Nigerian politicians to accept whatever verdict that will come out from the election petition tribunals for the sake of peace and unity of the country. The president of the Kenyan-based foundation, Professor Patrick Lumumba, made the call in Lafia, Nasarawa State capital, while delivering a lecture at the 2023 annual Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Leadership and Good Governance Lecture and Awards. Correspondent Abubakar Abdullahi sent in the report as presented from our studio.
The president of the foundation, named Patrick Lumumba, said the election results are now out with winners and losers, with joy and bitterness being expressed in different quarters. He said those who have been declared winners must not gloat and those who have lost must not be vanquished.
I am suggesting to Nigeria that the mistakes that have been made are mistakes which offer us an opportunity to improve our electoral system. I'm saying that when the tribunals have looked at all the cases, whichever verdict they arrive at, let the verdicts be accepted in grace. Not because tribunals are perfect, no, but history has taught us that when we want to resolve our disputes and we have chosen certain mechanisms for doing so, once they have rendered their verdict, even in their imperfection, for the sake of good order, we accept them, we grumble, we go home and say, hey, well.
The PLF president commended aggrieved persons who had approached tribunals to seek for redress and maintained that accepting the decisions of the tribunals at the end of the day would be a good omen for the country. He explained that Nigeria politicians must give priority to the unity of the country and preserve it to the next generation. President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by his Chief of Staff Ibrahim Gambari, congratulated northern leaders for the program describing Nigeria as a frontier of Africa, while Chairman, Board of Trustees of the Ahmadu Bello Foundation, Babangida Aliyu, and Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State speak on the commitment and sustenance of the foundation.
The most important enduring phase of Africa might well prove to be that presented by Nigeria. It is important for Nigeria to succeed, because if Nigeria succeeds, Africa succeeds, and the reverse is true. On this, I completely agree without hesitation to what Professor Lumumba has said.
Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, as concerned stakeholders in the affairs of northern states in particular, Nigeria in general, and the African continent, deliberately chose the theme, credible 2023 general elections, as panacea for search for quality leadership.
Of that. And the foundation wants me to plead with all the other governors that most of the, not that we just attend the events, but we go to the extent of making promises about what we will contribute to sustain the foundation. And in most cases, we don't provide what we say about the pledges. So I want you to use the opportunity to do that. They want me to use the opportunity to plead with you, and not just you, but all those who can afford to continue to support this.
The late Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation lecture was the 9th in its series.
Now, Kenyan President Dr. William Ruto has sent a special envoy to discuss areas of mutual interest between Nigeria and Kenya with the President-elect Bola Tinubu as the May 29 inauguration date draws closer. Ruto, in a letter he personally signed, congratulated Tinubu on his victory at the polls and extended his hand of fellowship to the incoming Nigerian leader. A statement by the media aide to the President-elect Abdulaziz said that the letter was delivered by the Kenyan President's envoy, who is also Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service of Kenya, Felix Koseke, during an audience with the President-elect at the weekend in Lagos. The Kenyan leader offered to work with Tinubu to consolidate the long-standing relationship between his country and Nigeria. Koseke told Tinubu that the desire of Ruto was to partner the incoming Nigerian leader in bringing Africa together and strengthening the continent through cooperation and sharing of experiences. In his response, President-elect Tinubu expressed his desire to work with the Kenyan president and other African leaders to champion issues of mutual interest, promising to pay a visit to the East African country at a later time to further explore areas of common interest. Farmers in Sharawa community, Daura local government area of Katsina state are going through hard times as a result of the collapse of the Dabiram solar irrigation system. According to the farmers, the project under the supervision of the National Agricultural Land Development Authority has been abandoned for 2 years. To make matters worse, security guards looking after the equipment at the site are complaining that they have not been paid salaries in 18 months. Gaza Yakubu, who visited Daura, tells us more.
Dabiram Solar Irrigation System is one of the dam projects in Daura local government area of Katsina State, supplying water to farming communities around its axis. But the sudden collapse of its solar irrigation system has created a huge challenge to farmers relying on the project. The major problems the farmers are faced with are drying up of the water body feeding the irrigation scheme due to climate change and influx of farmers into irrigation farming. An equal huge obstacle is the breakdown of solar energy system, which was provided by the government for over 2 years. These difficulties have increased farming costs, especially as the farmers have to adopt the alternative use of water pumping machine to supply water to their farms.
Solar is of paramount importance and it makes work faster. It has helped the less privileged. We are calling on government to pay security personnel guarding the solar because for the past 18 months, they have not been paid.
Abdullahi Adamu and his brothers are constructing water canals as an alternative means of irrigation. They will have to use a pumping machine instead of solar that was provided by the government as a source of energy.
Last year, the weather really affected the solar as a result of the wind and thunderstorms. We have to create path for easy flowing of water to ease in the farmland.
Unlike farmers in Kura, Kano State, benefiting from the Hadejia Jamarin River Basin Development Authority, farmers in Sharawa, one of the communities benefiting from the solar irrigation system, cannot produce crop in 3 farming seasons. The challenges of irrigation in this region have overshadowed their farming capacity.
We are calling on the government to build underground water pipe to further boost farming production in this community, and it will also help us during the dry season.
The farmers in Sharawa community say their only source of income is farming, and now that the dam is going through multiple challenges, they can only hope that the government will come to their rescue. Gaza Yakubu, Trust Television News, Daura.
The promise by President-elect Bola Tinubu to give workers living wage and improve their standard of living is viewed as possible morale booster for the workforce. In this report, Kabir Lawal speaks to civil servants in Abuja on what the promise means to the workforce. Take a look.
The President-elect Bola Tinubu had, in a solidarity message on Workers' Day, promised more than living wage for workers to have a decent life and provide for their families. For these civil servants, it is cheering news and looking forward to May 29th when he will assume office. They, however, called on government to deploy price control mechanism to address rising inflation in the country.
It's a good news for the workers. At least they will have a very large package to take home, you know, and I hope that our marketers will not destroy the goodwill of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You know, whenever there is an increase in price, then the marketers will also increase the goods, you know, the commodities prices will go high in the market. So I don't know, maybe government will have to do something about this, about markets as in price control.
It's a very nice idea because we workers were suffering at a long line. If they give you small salary, if you go market now, you buy some things before you buy everything now, your money don't finish, so you cannot get anything now. Talk about to pay your children's school fees and other things. So it's a very good idea. That's what you are praying for.
Some believe the outgoing administration wasted the opportunity to improve workers' welfare through many unfulfilled promises, which made public service unattractive.
They have been promising us, we are not seeing the promises. So if it came to be as a change to others, let's see.
It is actually a good news for government to increase workers' salary. It means money will flow in the market and people will be happy doing their businesses. But the only advice for the government is how to control the price mechanism of the markets so that the inflation will not tell more on the citizens of the country.
By the grace of God, this president can work. All the promise we promise us, by the grace of God, we get hope. Say, he must make sure saying do us the thing we're supposed to be for our country.
They advise the incoming government to fulfill the promise and regulate prices of commodities such that salary increase will no longer trigger inflation. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The Police Service Commission has formally written to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation seeking payment of 6-month unpaid salaries for the 2021-2022 police recruits. The PSC's formal letter to the AGF followed the Commission's approval of the payments for the recruits who had passed out of the police colleges and informal police work. The spokesman of the commission, Ikechukwu Ani, who announced this on Sunday, explained that the delay in payments occurred due to non-enrollment of the officers' Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS. Ani, however, said that the commission had to intervene in the matter and respond promptly, following outcry and appeals from Nigerians on behalf of the 2021-2022 police recruits. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a contempt suit against the federal government for failing to recover over 40 billion naira double pay and life pensions from former governors and are serving as lawmakers and ministers. SARAF disclosed this in a statement on Sunday by its Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare. The statement recalled how Justice Oguntoyinbo of the Federal High Court, Lagos, ordered the federal government in November 2019 to recover life pensions collected by former governors serving as ministers and members of the National Assembly. Justice Oguntoyinbo also directed the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, to challenge the legality of states' life pension laws permitting former governors and other ex-public officials to collect such pensions. The rights group regretted that the government of President Muhammadu Buhari has failed to implement the judgment. Justice Oguntoyinbo, who retired from the bench last month, expressed regret over the non-implementation of the judgment during a valedictory court session held in her honor. Traders selling uniforms, books, and other educational materials are lamenting low patronage even as schools resume for third term in Kaduna State. Parents, however, attribute the situation to the economic challenges in the country. Trust TV's Bello Musa sent in the report.
School resumption always comes with demands on parents to provide for their children. Things like books, uniforms, shoes, school bags, and many others are almost always needed. Some parents in Kaduna speak on their experience.
The parents are facing a lot of problems. Sometimes you go to some parents' house, they don't even have food to eat. Talking of paying school for their children. And there's no competition from the government. Or does the government contribute anything to the parents? No.
When the children resume school is that we have the issues and challenges of getting new textbooks, new exercise books, but above all, the pressure of paying school fees, which comes directly from the school. That has always been the major challenge because most parents don't get prepared with the school fees on ground.
But for traders who sell books, uniforms, and other materials, patronage is not encouraged now as they recorded more sales during the previous terms. Few people came to buy. Besides, this is third term and we don't record much sales this term. There is no patronage, only those who either lose their books or change school location patronize us. To parents, the economic situation in the country makes it difficult for some of them to cater for the school needs of their children.
When you, the parents, you don't eat enough in the house, how can you feed your children? You are not satisfied with the food you are eating in the house. And you don't have means, you have another alternative.
Even the children trying to force you to get new shoes, new sandals, and new uniforms and the rest, so many things.
Pocket money given daily to students is another challenge parents struggle to cope with as school resume nationwide. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
The National Emergency Management Agency has called for collaboration with the state and federal governments, local authorities, Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, and traditional rulers as 14 local government areas of Kebbi State are prone to flood disaster this year. This is coming just as the Managing Director of the Hydroelectric Power Producing Areas Development Commission, Abubakar Sadiq Yelwa, on Sunday at a stakeholders meeting on the flood mitigation in Birnin Kebbi called on the authorities of the affected local governments to come up with suggestions that may limit the flood mitigation, as the commission was ready to fund them. The zonal head, NEMA for Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Alhaji Aliyu Shehu, said that the perennial flooding being witnessed in Kebbi is caused by River Niger, River Rima and River Zamfara because they allow huge body of waters into the state and they caused havoc in many communities when they overflow their banks during rainy season. The federal government has been challenged to invest in Nigeria's health sector in order to reduce crave among Nigeria's elite for medical tourism. The call came as ex-Nigeria's Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu was jailed by a UK court for organ harvesting. The report.
The Nigerian health sector has over the years been poorly developed, leaving many who have their wherewithal to seek medical attention abroad. Brain drain has also been a challenge to the sector as doctors leave Nigeria in droves for greener pastures. For many Nigerians on the streets of Lagos, the recent sentencing of the former Deputy President of the Nigerian Senate, Ike Ekweremadu, and his wife is partly blamed on the challenges the Nigerian health sector faces.
Attests to the fact that our leaders should take full responsibility of the health sector by making it more viable and making it conducive for both the rich and the poor in the society to be able to go to. Take, for example, the hospitals in Lagos, the government hospitals. You get there, they will tell you there is no bed space, and they will want you to move your patient around town looking for where you're going to get a bed space. There is a pity for the family of Ekweremadus, and I hope other politicians will learn from that.
I don't even know what Ekweremadu has to go and do in the UK. If our health system here in Nigeria was okay, I don't think there's any reason for him, first of all, to go out there to take the daughter and pick someone from the street, claiming that that person is the cousin, to go for the transplant. First of all, if our hospitals here in Nigeria, they are okay, they are well equipped, the dialysis or the kidney transplant supposed to be done in one of the hospitals here. So the nemesis, I just feel it's nemesis that caught up with him. And you know, some of these rich people, they think they can eat their cake and have it at the same time. It's not done like that.
Ekweremadu was arrested on June 23, 2022 by the London Metropolitan Police for reportedly conspiring to bring a child to United Kingdom organ harvesting.
Was a man whom, when he was the Deputy Senate President, students from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, went to him to help them facilitate a loan whereby they can build health facilities there. This man demanded for some percentage. And you will not believe this same man even ensured this money was released without the knowledge of the students, without the knowledge of University of Nsukka. So what has happened now, if he had used his position when he was in government to ensure our health facilities were improved, he wouldn't have gotten into the situation whereby he will fly out to go and use a Nigerian, to go and take advantage of a poor Nigerian.
The consensus of many Nigerians who reacted to the ordeal of the Ekweremadus is that the federal government has to be intentional about turning around the health sector to avoid situations like this.
Police operatives in Delta State have arrested 153 suspected female commercial sex workers, armed robbers, kidnappers, and cultists in the state. DSP Bright Edafe, the public relations officer of the state's command, disclosed this in a statement made available to journalists. He said 59 of the suspects were kidnappers, armed robbers, and cultists, while 94 of them were commercial sex workers. Edafe said that the suspects were arrested at East-West Road and other black spots, all in Ughelli North local government area of the state. Edafe listed exhibits recovered from the suspect to include 3 pump-action guns, 1 locally made cut-to-size gun, 1 dagger, 10 live cartridges, 1 suspected stolen unregistered Toyota Venza and Mercedes-Benz. He said that 94 arrested commercial sex workers have been charged to court alongside some of the male suspects, while others have been transferred to the command headquarters for further investigation. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at the wisdom behind fear of fake new naira notes. Details and more after the break.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back from that break. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Now let's take a look at the top stories again. Troops destroy bandits' leaders' hideouts in Zamfara, rescue kidnapped victims. 836 Nigerians fleeing war-torn Sudan arrive Abuja on Sunday. Now to some more stories. Gunmen have abducted Takum local government chairman Boyi Manja at Kofang Amadu area along Takum Wukari Road, Taraba State. The gunmen also killed the orderly of the abducted chairman. A resident told Daily Trust that the chairman was traveling in his official vehicle when he ran into a roadblock mounted by the gunmen. Rescue operation by security and vigilante have commenced in the forest along the area where the chairman was abducted with a view to rescuing him. Spokesperson of the Taraba Police Command, SP Usman Abdullahi, could not be reached for comment over the incident. A Makurdi-based medical practitioner has recommended periodic blood pressure tests and routine medical checkup for wellness and well-being. Igoche Ali blamed the inability of most Nigerians to regular checks of blood pressure on ignorance and recklessness. Jimmy Azande reports.
According to the World Health Organization, blood pressure should be checked regularly, especially for those who have attained 40 years and above. A medical practitioner says regular check has become a necessity because of rising cases of depression occasioned by tough economic times.
In recent times, because of the change in lifestyle, people have evolved from rural setting to urban setting. Urban lifestyle have a lot of attendant challenges. So people are facing things they need not face. People are going through stress. And a lot of stressors are on ground now that bring people into high blood pressure, developing high blood pressure. And, other things that lead to the rampant cases of high blood pressure now is organ failure, organ malfunctioning. If you are having a kidney problem, or you're having a liver problem, you're having a problem with one of the major organs, it has tendency of causing high blood pressure. In the same way, high blood pressure that is not properly managed can cause any of these other problems.
Residents of Makurdi said most people are not aware of this health demand, noting that most people die as a result of poor health check.
Normally, I don't go to the hospital. I go to the pharmacy to check once in a week. I check.
Once, I go like a month or two, I go check them.
I know 2 or 3 persons that they felt that they don't have BP, their BP are not high. But the day they step their foot in the hospital, they couldn't come back.
The medical expert advised Nigerians to take health issues more serious.
So what I advise people should involve in a regular medical checkup. If you can afford, do a medical checkup within 1 or 2 months, every 1 or 2 months. If you are identified to be hypertensive, it's advisable you check your blood pressure 2-3 times a week. We also advise people as pharmacists to have their blood pressure monitoring devices. Now the world of technology have advanced that you can get something like wristwatch. Hang on your fist, read your heartbeat, read your blood pressure, the diastolic, the systolic. You get the value. If it is within range, you meet your pharmacist or meet your doctor so that you take the drug. There are drugs that are hypotensive in nature. Their work is to reduce the high blood pressure. Then people should be encouraged to get engaged in activities that will make them to move, like in the form of mild exercise for those that are not fully involved in exercise.
He hopes that Nigerians will begin to enjoy longevity and good health, minimize mortality rate in the country through regular checkups.
Stakeholders say there is growing concern over violation of sexual and reproductive health rights of women and young girls in Nigeria. The stakeholders call for reforms as majority of women in the country lack access to basic reproductive health care services. Hamid Oegbade reports.
Sexual and reproductive health rights is a global concept of human rights applied to sexuality and reproduction. Stakeholders say when the sexual reproductive health rights of women and young girls are denied, their entire well-being is adversely affected, and this tells on the nation's socio-economic growth and development. In Nigeria, majority of women lack access to basic reproductive health care services, amounting to violation of their health rights.
The population today that the lack of respect for reproductive rights affect most are women, and it disempowers women. It puts women in a situation where they cannot contribute to nation building. And when you do that to half of your population or more than half of the population of this country, then you know that the effects are very obvious.
Just that you're a woman, you have to go through extra miles, extra hurdles just to be able to exist. So it's a lot of problems. It affects our psychology, our mental health. our physical and spiritual health. It's a lot of depression going on, and these are faced by women and girls who do not have all this easy access to their sexual health and reproductive rights.
We have restrictive laws when it comes to issues like abortion. So we have a high maternal mortality rate, which means that a lot of women in Nigeria are dying due to pregnancy-related issues, and abortion is one of them.
As part of moves towards addressing the situation, members of civil societies, legal and media practitioners, and other stakeholders are seeking reforms, including the review of the existing laws on sexual and reproductive health in the country.
Take steps, active steps, to respect, to protect, and to fulfill the reproductive health rights of women, because issues of reproductive health rights are human rights issues. They are not just issues that we can decide to either give or not give. And when these services are not available, it now translates to a violation of the rights to life of a woman. It also translates to several other violations of our rights.
A support system that will support reproductive rights in Nigeria at both advocacy level, in terms of passage of laws, but most importantly in Nigeria today, implementation of the laws.
The stakeholders resolved to work together towards raising awareness among people on reproductive health rights, championing effective advocacy efforts on reforms, and supporting victims of violation to get justice. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Oshogbo.
Business owners and point-of-sale operators say that the tendency of circulation of fake new Naira notes is high because of its scarcity in circulation, urging the government to allow continuous use of the old Naira notes. The report.
People with criminal inclinations are trying to exploit the non-availability of the new Naira note to circulate fake currency, as most people cannot differentiate between real notes and fake notes. Some point-of-sale operators in Lagos air their views on the low circulation of the new Naira notes.
They should keep the new notes. They should not bring out the new note. The old note is okay. And even the new note, if rain fall on it, the new note is spoiled. It will turn to another color. So we don't need the new notes for now. Just new old notes.
Affecting my business. It's not really affecting my business, and because I know the rudiments of the business. The second one is for the future, I think it's better because we have a lot of fake of the previous one. 4 days ago, they brought 45,000 naira to me to exchange of the fake one. So I think that is one of the reasons our government wants it out of the market system. That's one of the points. Then they have several other reasons too. So affecting my business is not. Everybody knows the rudiments of their business, so they know how to keep it up. There is no business that doesn't have their own ups and downs. So you should know how to paddle your canoe when it comes to your business.
They urge the government to prevent further punishment of Nigerians come December 2023 by ensuring that the newly redesigned Naira notes become available.
I fear now is that if they stop using the old one now, it will affect business and ordinary. Then before they could stop the old one, they should make sure that they have produced more so that it will be enough.
This new Naira notes, we are not seeing it, and we are not getting the new Naira note. So my opinion is that let us continue with the old one, because that old one is circulating everywhere. The new one, we cannot get in it.
However, business owners are advised to educate themselves on how to differentiate original Naira notes, especially the new notes, from the fake ones, so as not to fall victims of fraudsters with fake new Naira notes.
Time now to take a quick break. The news hour continues shortly. Join us again. Welcome back. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Now, moving on, there was panic at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, on Sunday when a Max Air aircraft crash-landed after the tire reportedly burst into flames. The aircraft had arrived from Yola, Adamawa State, when the incident happened. The Aerodrome Rescue and Firefighting Service operating at the airport were swiftly mobilized to put off the fire. Former president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Dr. Mike Ogirima, who gave an account of the incident, said that the tire burst occurred after takeoff at Yola Airport. However, the aircraft crash-landed in Abuja with emergency officials already on ground to put off the fire before the passengers were disembarked right at the runway. The passengers were safely disembarked from the runway while the runway was temporarily shut until the evacuation of the aircraft. An official of the airline who confirmed the incident to Daily Trust said that the airline will officially inform the appropriate authorities to carry out an investigation into the incident. President Muhammadu Buhari has urged the Nigerian Air Force to step up collaboration with technological, innovative institutions, industries, and individuals to improve on its platforms. He gave the charge at the ceremonial parade and aerial display marking the 59th anniversary of the Nigerian Air Force Day in Enugu on Saturday. The president, represented by the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, challenged NAV to increase its local capacity building through practical and purposeful collaboration and partnership to counter contemporary and emerging security challenges. President Buhari stressed the need for the Nigerian Air Force to strive to expand its collaboration beyond the military. He said that within the last 4 years and running, his administration had committed substantial national resources to enhance the overall capabilities of the armed forces, especially the Nigerian Air Force. The president also inducted some new platforms of the Nigerian Air Force, which included DA-62 Special Mission Aircraft and Wing-Long 2 unmanned aerial vehicle.
I'm impressed by the displays put up by the officers, airmen and airwomen of the Nigerian Air Force at this ceremonial event, especially in the march past, the parade, and the colorful aerial exhibition. These displays aptly demonstrate the Nigerian Air Force's commitment to achieving high standards of operational readiness. Indeed, our Air Force is willing, able, and ready. I'd like to commend the Chief of Air Staff and his team for the commendable leadership that they have shown in providing for the Nigerian Air Force. As the air arm of the armed forces, the Nigerian Air Force has shown that despite its challenges, in terms of the quality of manpower, talents, creativity, and capability, we stand shoulder to shoulder with the very best in the world. As a country, we are proud that in less than 4 years, we've been able to revitalize our armed forces.
Rich cultural display by a kingmaker and Sarkin Yakin Bauchi Emirate Aliyu Yakubu, who is also the district head of Leme, entertained many spectators during the traditional Hawan Mamman Kusu staged in his domain. The monarch charged his people to pursue education as a veritable tool for nation building. Trust TV's Adamu Imam witnessed the annual festival and fastened the report.
The occasion thrilled the heart and minds of spectators to remember the late first Sarkin Yakin Bauchi, Malam Muhammadu Mamman Kusu, who first initiated the Daba. The current district head of Lame, Aliyu Yakubu, organized the annual Daba to promote peaceful coexistence, unity and cultural development, to remember the legacies left behind by the first Sarkin Yakin Bauchi, Mamman Kusu, a war veteran during the reign of Sheikh Usman Danfodio.
Our subjects are very obedient. That is why I have been telling them they should continue to exhibit good behavior whenever they go. Though they welcome visitors, that is why the district was filled to capacity. They should be good ambassadors of Leme. They should love one another. That is the way to go as human beings.
Spectators were fascinated by cultural display by various troops, with hunters giving them a treat with several gunshots in the air. Traditional leaders as well as Gumau indigenous people commended the Sarkin Yaki of Bauchi for his pace-setting role for others to follow to promote peace in the domain.
I think I'm short of words to express my feelings.
I know it is existing, but I had never for once ever visited. But I am invited by the Sarkin Yaki of Bauchi, a friend, a brother, a colleague. We are living together in very good peace since even when our parents are alive. So going to do it the first time, I said, let me present myself to see how it is. And for the scene where I saw, I am impressed.
The man is popular enough, has a support of his people like him. If these people not even like him, you cannot see a kind of gathering like this. So I'm very impressed.
The district head thanked the state governor Bala Mohammed for his tremendous support for annual Mamman Kusu Daba, saying it served as a symbol of unity and togetherness for the people of Lame district and some part of the northeastern state. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
The Federal Capital Territory Internal Revenue Service has given organizations with expert rates in their employ not later than May 31 to submit their details. Mustafa Sumaila, head corporate communications at the FCT IRS, stated on Sunday in Abuja that the submission of the details was compulsory and should be taken seriously. He added that the directive followed a resolution reached between the Economic Planning, Revenue Generation and Public-Private Partnership and the IFCT IRS. Mustafa Sumaila added that the companies and organizations with foreign nationals working in the FCT are requested to forward details of the expert rate to the FCT IRS for proper documentation. Sumaila stressed that the resolution was in continuation of an ongoing effort to harmonize and enhance internally generated revenue in the FCT. We'll now take a quick break. The news hour continues shortly. Join us again. That's great. It's good to see you. Welcome back from that break. Now, on the foreign scene, Sudan's warring parties have met for direct talks in Saudi Arabia as mediators pressed for an end to a conflict that has killed hundreds and sent tens of thousands fleeing. Saudi Arabia and the United States welcomed the start of the pre-negotiation talks on Saturday in the Saudi coastal city of Jeddah between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces, and urged the fighters to actively engage and come to a lasting ceasefire, a joint statement said. Sudan's Forces of Freedom and Change, a political grouping leading an internationally backed plan to transfer the country to civilian rule, also welcomed the Jeddah talks. The pro-democracy movement said that the discussions will be a first step to stop the country's collapse and called on leaders of the military and the RSF to make a bold decision to end the conflict. Confirming his group's attendance, RSF leader Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, commonly known as Hemeti, said that he hoped the talks will achieve their intended aims of securing safe passage for civilians. The US-Saudi initiative in Jeddah is the first serious attempt to end fighting that has endangered Sudan's fragile transition following years of unrest and uprisings. 6 people died when a diamond mine collapsed in the Democratic Republic of Congo over the weekend, officials said on Sunday. The accident took place in the Diboko area in the central Kasai province on Friday. The province vice governor, Gaston Nkole, said that those killed were unauthorized diggers who entered an area where mining is prohibited. The vice governor said that the latest toll received on Saturday night put the number of dead at 6, adding that an investigation is underway. Despite the mining ban, which the authorities put in place for safety reasons, informal miners have been coming to the site at night in search of diamonds. In sport news, the first jump ball of the Nigeria Basketball Federation Premier League Final 8 comes up Sunday at the National Stadium, Lagos. The championship will end on November 12. According to NBBF President Musa Kida, the final 8 games will be competitive as the teams, apart from fighting to win the title, are also battling for a continental ticket. He noted that the final 8 will help to bring back the excitement of basketball to fans of the sport. He further explained that the final 8 matches are another opportunity for Nigeria's basketball players to do what they love doing. The final 8 will feature Gombe Bulls, Kano Pillars, Benue Braves, Kwara Falcons, Lagos Islanders, Nigeria Customs, and Rivers Hoopers. The winner of the competition will qualify to represent Nigeria at the 2023 Basketball Africa League, scheduled to hold in Kigali, Rwanda. Now, before we go, here is a look at Akika. 48 hours in labor without adequate information was enough to prompt Eno Quagrain to start a blog and then launch an app dubbed Talkative Mom. Her app enables women to access crucial and potentially life-saving information about childbearing, medical specialists, and medical facilities with a dose of home-brewed comedy thrown in. Take a look.
Just type pre-owned. Motherhood was something I thought I was prepared for. I had downloaded a mom app. I had read so much about what to expect, and I thought, okay, you know what, I'm ready for this journey. But really, nothing can prepare you for your journey. Once I came out of that experience, I was like, there's so much I need to share, because I knew that the information out there, especially in the Ghanaian society, wasn't enough. And you know, the former generation, I mean the generation before us, our parents, they don't share enough. For them, it's about go in, you're a woman, you can do it, and then you're out, and that's it. And so I felt that someone needed to share more. Just type pre-owned. Coming up with the name Talkative Mom was pretty easy. That's just because I'm a talkative and I'm a mother. So Talkative Mom is basically who I am. And I was building a platform where I could talk, and I also wanted to invite others to come talk as well. And so I wanted a platform where we could share information. Others could also benefit from it through talking, through conversations, through communication, interactions and stuff like that. And so the name makes sense.
Quite inspiring, really. Now that's a wrap on the News Hour for tonight. In case you've missed, you can always catch up across all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.